folks, and welcome to a new format, like a weekly format I'd like to do, like a vlog, and I've called it Natalie's Sofa because I'm on my sofa. Well, I just wanted to try and be a bit creative with the name and make something like more homely, but anyway, let me know what you think in the comments of the name of the little vlog. But let me tell you a bit about what I want to sort of achieve here. Like I said, I want to try and put something regular out because I'm quite sporadic with the videos I do based on mostly photography. And I think the idea of this was I want to give you something that gets you into the world of not just photography, but a little bit about me and other interests that I have. And as I said, it'll become apparent as I do this first episode what I want to do, because I also want to invite, and I'm going to put a link to my an email address in the description below, where you could send in your photography-based questions. It could be questions. It could be little short stories as well that I might like to tell in other episodes. But I want to. The idea I think behind this is to have something that's fairly easy for me to research for content, so I can provide something more regular, because this is quite easy to set up and film, and quite easy for me to get this format and get some interesting information in it. Whereas going out, I mean, it's tipping down with rain outside at the minute, so whereas going out and actually doing a tutorial or a hike up a mountain, or a ride on the bike, or something like that, or a review, it's actually a lot more involved to create. This is why I only create 1 or 2 of them a month, because it's incredibly involved. The video I've just done, which was of what's called an Easter egg run on the motorcycles, and I'm going to bring a few photographs up so you could have a look at to see what I've been up to the last few days. I kind of went on it because I had to take my camera, and I'll digress into the kind of things we're going to talk about. See, I've got this. It's another bag. Yeah, you probably could a video about bags a few weeks ago. About photographers have too many bags. It's another one, but it's a bag with a difference, because this is a tank bag. And I did a video before about carrying cameras on your motorcycle, and I was travelling relatively light the other day, and I want to see how well a tank bag worked for a camera. It shook around quite a lot, but the old Lumix S5 2X there that we're recording on today is a tough old boot and survived, but certainly you've got to be more careful. But anyway, I digress. That's an example of things we're going to talk about. It's going to be related to photography, but also related to things that I enjoy about my life, and a little bit of a different format. I did consider whether I'd put this on a different channel, but although my channel's predominantly about photography, it's also a little bit about sort of my life with photography. So I thought, no, I'm going to keep it on the same channel. Or should I? Because starting a new channel is a right faff. Tried that. It didn't work, too much work. But again, let me know in the comments what you think. The whole idea behind this format is to give you guys more of an input into the content that's created, not in the sense of necessarily requesting a specific amount of content, but in essence, like I said before, sending in a question about something, or a little short story about, so you do with photography related or sort of travel related, that we can sort of have a quick, 2 or 3 minutes talking about it on here. So, with that being said, why don't we go into a little news article? So one of the things I wanted to bring you is I'm going to try and find a little snippet of news, photography news, or it might be something else related to, say, to motorcycles. See, I've got my lovely crash helmet over there on display, just to sort of set the scene. But anyway, Viltrox are going to release another 56mm lens. You think, well, I've already released a 56mm lens, and it was a very good one. And a lot of people are very happy with their 75mm lens, but they're very fast apertures. But they're going to release a 56mm, which is an f1.7, which is still a relatively fast aperture. And I don't think it's going to have, we've got some pictures up here so you can see what it's going to be like there, leaked pictures. So I'll put some on the screen now. And I don't think it has an aperture in it. It doesn't look like it has an aperture in it. It's very compact, very small. And I think it could be a very quirky lens to try out. So I will see if I can get a hold of one in the coming weeks and months. I don't know when it's going to be released. It could be a while yet. But it's one to watch out for. And apparently it's only going to be around about £160. Say about $180. In fact, it might be less than that. It might be £150, about $180. Somewhere around that region of cost, which is quite a compelling price. And these cheaper lenses, as I've experienced with the 27mm, kind of have a bit of a character to them. They're not always the sharpest, but as I've always said with photography, it's not about necessarily how sharp a lens is, it's about the character of the lens and what it can do. So I think this could be a very interesting lens to have a look at. But anyway, that's one of the things I wanted to bring you in this new little format. The news. What's also probably not in the news currently, but something I wanted to talk about and something I want to do a longer video on when I've done some research, going to take some time, is the current vintage camera craze. And it was kind of brought home to me, and I'm trying to work out what it is. I think it's just down to the fact that they're called Gen Z, have never experienced compact cameras. So I think they're curious about them, and you go on TikTok and all these creators are using them. And many years ago, I bought my daughter a Fujifilm X10 vintage style camera, and I paid £90 for it about just before the pandemic, 4.5 years ago. And I was in London Camera Exchange, local camera shop. I was dropping off my lens for repair. My 50 to 140 has got an autofocus problem. It's currently with Fuji for repair. So I saw this camera in the window. I thought, oh, it's an X20. They're lovely. And it was a silver and black one. They're such a lovely little camera to have as something where if you're just travelling and you want to travel really light, and they take lovely pictures, and they've got a couple of the film simulations in. They're quite old cameras and came out around about 10 years ago, and they were about £400 when they came out. And then I had to do a double take because the price was £450. And we're talking a 10-year-old camera here. And this is the current craze. That's my cat there, meowing at me. She wants to be in the kitchen. Shall we do a live distraction? Hang on a second. You want to go in the kitchen? In you go. I have to shut the door a bit. You can push it open. So I digress. Let's start that again. Right. Oh, distractions, eh? So this camera was £450. And I'm thinking, God, if it was £120 or something like that, or which is realistically what they should cost, then I would have bought it. But it wasn't. It was £450, and I'm thinking, gee, you could buy an X Pro 2 for that, which is by far a better camera. It's still technically vintage, if you like. Seems that in the digital world, things become vintage very quickly. So I really wanted to look into that in a lot more detail in the future. But then, it's kind of in the new, something current that I came across. And, again, this is to give you guys ideas of what stories have you come across? Is it just a little story like you went to your local camera shop and you just saw something that really surprised you, or something of that ilk? Anyway, moving on. As you've probably seen from some of my videos, I've been doing a little bit of content related to motorcycles, but trying to tie photography into that, almost like a two-wheeled photographer. And that's because obviously I've always over the last, since I was 18, I think, have on and off ridden motorcycles, but I hadn't had one for years. And I finally decided, well, I'm in my 50s, I'm not getting any younger. So I got a motorcycle with the idea of travelling on it. So I've been busy getting panniers fitted and buying all the stuff again, and God, it's cost a fortune. Broke at the minute, but I've been buying all the bits and pieces and getting the bike ready to do touring, but also with the angle on taking cameras, drones and things like that, so I can carry as much photography gear with me as possible, so I can get sort of close to the action. Because one of the advantages of a bike, which you don't get with a car, is that a bike, if you're on a country road and you see a scene, you can pull over at the side of the road quite safely. There's usually little places you can squeeze a motorcycle into off the road very easily. You can't do that with a car. The amount of times I've been in a car and gone, oh, look at that amazing sunset, or look at that scene over there, and oh, look at those amazing storm clouds and the light. And I'm like, there's nowhere I can stop. And that's kind of like partly why I wanted to do it, but I want to do a lot more travel photography, and sort of moto vlogging, and I've been sort of and ahhing about how to fit this in to the format of what I do, and this is part of the reason why I wanted to do these sort of regular Wednesday videos on Natalie's sofa, for want of a better word, work in progress, as they say. So hopefully as the weather improves, because it's pretty grim at the minute, typical British spring, tipping down with rain, I'll get out and about and get to do some more photography. It's taken a while to build up the equipment required. Even now, I don't yet have all the equipment I could really do with a Insta360 type camera, but it's going to be probably a year before I can afford one, because they're not cheap. Maybe 6 months, we'll see. There's a lot of other priorities before that. But I've got an old Osmo Action, which is great. I've got my Pocket 3, which is great for doing the little vlogs and things like that. In fact, if you looked at my last video, although the gimbal work is not perfect because I'm still learning how to use that tiny gimbal, the Pocket 3 is a very powerful camera. So if you watch my last video, I can link that in the description as well. In fact, I'll link it at the end of this video, the Easter egg run. You'll see a lot of the scenes where I'm actually filming the motorcycles were all filmed on the Pocket 3. And it gives a wonderful first-person perspective of walking through the crowd. But I didn't quite have the gimbal set right, so it was a bit of bobbing. It's almost like a first-person shooter computer game. As you bobbed around and do the walking bob. But I'm getting there, and it's a lot easier when you're on a travelling light on a motorcycle to not you know, I don't have the space to carry a gimbal and a large camera. I don't have the time to set that up, because it was, I knew there would be like, you'd arrive, you deliver your Easter eggs and things like that, and your money for the charity event, because it's a charity driven event. And by the time you'd done that, I was like, it took me a while to get all the film. And getting a big camera set up on a gimbal is very time consuming. And also, I have to have the space to carry all that extra kit, and then it's the compromise. So I had my panniers with me, and it let me carry all the kit I needed, and I even was able to carry my drone. And maybe on events where I've got more time and I'm not constrained, you know, on a time constrained event, I might try doing some proper gimbal work with the camera. But equally, the Pocket 3 gives me the ability to have a very tiny gimbal and do that. So we come to the end of the first episode, episode 1. And as I've alluded to at the start, I do want you guys to have more interaction in this, so sending in questions or just comments below of what you think of this as an idea. I'm kind of already set on it, so it's not an idea. Well, still let me know, because at the same time, I want to try not to upset people. You can't please everyone, but I have to see what, you know, other channels are doing that give me inspiration, and I have to keep sort of developing the format forward. I certainly want to develop things forward in the next few years, because obviously I'm looking at areas where I'm myself planning now for my retirement, even though that's in 10 years' time. believe me, it'll pass really quickly, and content creation is something I'd like to continue into retirement, and something I'll have more time to do as I approach retirement. So that's kind of the idea behind this, and it's also a chance to sit down in a comfortable environment with no time pressures and just reflect on a few things, some news articles, some stories to share, and maybe even some very, very quick fire reviews where I just show you some equipment. The cat's just catapulted the door open. I think I'll probably leave the bloopy bits in. So you can see what's on. This is the joy of having a pet. It just opens the door so you can now see the mess in the kitchen. Oh dear. Let's go and shut the door, shall we? There we go. So you can see this is recorded almost live. I mean, I might actually consider doing some of these live. These potentially could be sometime pre-recorded, but I might do the odd one, special one, if they become popular. It might be worthwhile doing these as live events. So we'll just have to wait and see how it goes on. So, as I said, details for the email address in the comments below if you want to email in a little story or a question about photography, or even a question on motorcycles and things like that. Anything related to the stuff that I'm interested in, sort of have some knowledge of. Don't ask me about flower arranging or something. Not good at it. Don't know anything about it. But you get the drift of what the email address is there for, and we can sort of talk about that at the next event. I'll obviously create some content for this because I get that I'm very small as a channel, and I'm not necessarily going to get a lot of feedback or messages, I would imagine, straight away. So that's why I'm still also going to have some content to put into this, and some weeks there won't be any stories or questions, and I'll just have to create the content as I see fit and as I see fit to put in. So let's wrap that up, and I think I'll put the door exploding there as the cat comes charging out. But you've got to leave those things in because these are the things I have to live with, and it's kind of like a little window onto sort of my life, this, if you like, and that's the whole idea behind it, which just means it's not going to be necessarily entirely focused on photography, and it does mean a different direction to a certain extent for the channel, but hey, I've got to develop it. So I hope you enjoyed this little one. If you did, please do comment below and subscribe, and I'm going to plug the algorithm. If you do comment and you do subscribe, and like YouTube does promote the video a lot more. I got that with my Easter egg run video. It got quite a few comments and likes, and it really keeps it showing up and popping up in timelines and things. So it would be appreciated because it helps me build the channel. I'm so close to 1,000 subscribers, and that will be quite a milestone to get to, because I'll have 1k instead of it saying 801k. So exciting. And who knows, I might be able to monetize the channel. And you see, the bigger the channel gets, for example, the Viltrox lens, I'm digressing a bit here, but this is all related to why I want to do this. If this helps the channel grow, then what we'll do is I can get, mostly for most reviews you see that I do, I fund them myself. I go out and buy the equipment because, unlike a larger channel which would get a loan of the equipment, I can't do that. It's not easy for me. I can't get a long-term loan. So, if companies like Viltrox saw me as a channel with a couple of thousand subscribers, then that means that I can get a lens to review over a couple of weeks, which means that I can show you what something's like so that you don't have to waste money buying it if it turns out to be a load of rubbish. And I will always be honest with my reviews, and I will point out the good points about something and the flaws, warts and all, as they say, so that you can get as balanced opinion as possible on something. As always, it's my opinion, but I'll always back that up with samples and things like that. And as the channel grows, I hope I can, you know, do some reviews like that. They might not be in the news section, but they will be in my reviews, my other videos I do, you know, now and again, you know, 1 to 2 times a month. Anyway, I've already digressed enough. The door's flown open twice. The cats wanted to go in the kitchen. And let me know what you think of the setup as well. Comments below. Have a chat about that too. Does it look okay? I've been messing around with the lighting. I set a nice scene up behind. See you all later, folks. Bye.